Hi Trading Card Fanatics, welcome to another episode of Aufgerissen und gespielt. And as you can see, today we have our magic mat out. This means like we are talking about magic. And I would say today, let's talk about Spirit Tribal. What about tell about Spirit Tribal? So we have like, of course, we could be playing something like, for example, like vampire tribals and so on. But tribals like spirits literally like are a little bit underrated, I think, in the meta. And the thing is like no one really takes them for serious as far as I can say. My gaming groups I was playing with this deck had the same possibilities and the same topics about a deck which relies literally like on beat down and big or many spirits coming where they. So our commander today is Millicent Restless Revenant, so it's one of the more latest commanders about the sets which have been out. So what is our commander doing with a 4/4 body and 7 mana altogether, which means like we have blue, white and 5 generic. This means our commander comes out. This spell costs 1 colorless less to cast for each spirit you control. So we need spirits to cast our commander. Great. Our commander is flying, and whenever Millicent Restless Revenant or another non-token spirit you control dies or deals combat damage to a player, we create a 1/1 white spirit token with flying. So this means we are getting a lot of spirits. This means also we want a lot of spirits getting very big. That's literally like the gameplay for our commander here. And well, to support this, we have a lot of things to do. Let's talk about the mana base. Mana base. Everything which is like literally like doing us good on our 2 colors. This means we have a Hell Fountain, Alaka Oasis, Prairie Stream, Moorland Hound. This is like more cool because like we have this extra on it. Exile a creature card from your graveyard. Create a 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying. So literally this helps us if our graveyard is a bit full with all the stuff we have been already dumping in the mirrored landscape. We need a little bit of mana. As we can see, commander has 5. So if he gets killed, already needs 7, already needs more and more. You got the point. So we need lands and to thin out our Glacial Fortress, Flooded Strand, bit more to thin out the deck. Port Town. We normally play more than one. We can reveal plains or island. In this case, you will see we have both in the deck. Mystic Gate in this case to get a bit more fixing to a deserted beach. We have 2 or more lands definitely in our thing. A Nimbus Haze for additional punch. Ancient Tomb to put a bit of pressure to the board. Sea of Clouds. And Academic Ruins, Command Tower, Path of Ancestry. Very cool. A Reliquary Tower because we can draw a lot of cards if we want to. And guess why we have this in? Because we could possibly tell spirits on this. And then all our spirits are not counterable. That's a very cool card for our deck. Literally, it's a very cool card for any tribal deck. You should figure out having this in there. Temple of Enlightenment, Castle Ventress, however you call this. It's a bit more about the scrying part. In this case, we have Henge Gate Pathway. It's a dual-sided land, so we have also like the Mistgate Pathway here. I normally play it with the Mistgate up front because like we have also like our normal lands around plains, islands as well. So literally like we have a good stuff being here in our queue. Land base, very much our thing. Consistently drawing, consistently bringing our commander up. I would say by maximum turn 4, more likely turn 3. Why this is the case? It's because we can spend our spirit, which we already control, to help us cast our commander. Each spirit reduces 1 of its mana cost, so we looking for spirits in this case, and we are playing Spirit Tribal. Supreme Command Phantom, 1 generic, 1 blue, and gives every spirit +1/+1. You get the point. We are playing Spirit Tribal. We are pumping up our spirits. Whenever Ghost the Pilveter becomes untapped, you may pay 2 if you do draw a card. So card draw also very important. Whenever an opponent casts a spell from anywhere other than hand, draw a card. So we are having a spirit, 2/1, doesn't cost the world, and we draw a card. Guardian of Faith, spirit again, flash vigilance, and whenever it enters, any number of other targets you could face out. Cool to protect our board state, by the way. If someone has the fantastic idea to cast something like Wrath of God or something similar to wipe it. Hanged Executioner, flying, also like very cheap. When Hanged enters, we also create a white 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying, also very nice. We have the Nebelgast Herald, flash flying, and ever when he enters or another spirit enters, we tap target creature our opponent controls. We have a lot of flying creatures, by the way. As you can see, spirits flying makes sense. So we have a great sense of like really like touching someone and then generally generate more spirits on this. Flash flying rattle chains. Whenever it enters, target spirit gains hexproof. Also like someone wants to exile our commander. Try again. Skycleave apparition, spirit, and we of course can up to exile now one target non-land, non-token permanent you don't control. So this can be also like someone who has some great stuff running out. Let's say, for example, Zoring. No one thinks like Zoring being a big thing, but it's too generic mana. Take this away. This is like a huge setback. Also, whenever it leaves, we get an illusion creature token where X is the guy's toughness. That means like whatever we exile with it is going to get a selfless spirit flying, sacrifice, creatures who can control gain indestructible. Also very nice. Spectral Sailor. We all know this card's cheap. You see the point. We are getting our commander out fast. Ugin, the smallest one with a +1/+1 markings for where X like 1 is enough. We only need the ghost, and we also need him to reduce the mana cost of our Millicent in this case. Patrician Geist, also flying. Our spirits I control get +1/+1. This means like already have a lot of +2/+2 with the second one already in place, and it gets better with Droxel Captain. Other spirits you control +1/+1 have hexproof. Great to protect our commander in this case again. You see there's a lot of pumping stuff in this. You easily can get a spirit up to 8-9 body. That's very easy to achieve with this deck. As you can see, when you pay more than put that many +1/+1 counters again, makes a sense. And of course, this is a great card for all the sacrifice, counter target non-creature spell unless its controller plays free, and we can later on disturb. This is like just literally a counter spell which we are running. That's the reason why it's not a spirit in this case. Twilight Rover, whenever a creature token leaves the battlefield, put a +1/+1 of. This makes sense. We are getting a lot of this spirit tokens, so we can attack, swing in. Of course, they get blocked. Of course, they die. Of course, this guy gets +1/+1. Windborn Muse, nice thing. Creatures can't attack you unless it's a bit like of protection from us. For us, it's a spirit in this case again. That means like we are playing into our tribal. It makes sense in this case. Bygone Bishop, flying. Whenever you cast a creature spell with mana value 3 or less, we have a lot of things here. Investigate means we do a clue artifact token, which lets us draw a card later on. Shapeshifter, by the way, are spirits too in this case. As you can see, this card is every creature type, and we can use this to counter it unless to pump up the text in this case. Phantasmal Image enters as a spirit too, and as an illusion. We have Nico Honor, so comes into play, destroy target enchantment. You might need this if you're having heavy enchantment opponents in this case. You possibly need this case also by the way, very nice for all these guys playing one of these cards, which we will also be playing. Literally, like you will see. I'm not I will leave this card out so we can put this later on when the card arrives. Shacklegeist can only block when with crying. Tap to untap, tap target. It's like literally like we do tokens. That's the point. Empyrean Eagle, spirit +1/+1. It means like already like +3/+3. Amazing. We are like getting cheap creatures, cheap out our commander, and then of course hit with the bigger things too. It's very, 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 very cool. We can attack a block with this. 4/4, it's very easy to achieve. 2 remorse or cleric, sacrifice, exile all cards from target player's graveyard. You play against green-black. Makes sense. Or black only. Also makes sense. Put away the graveyard of the others. Karmic Guide, flying protection from black. Echo, and when it enters, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. We have a lot of creatures here. No, we are not playing any sort of titans in here, so it doesn't make sense. But Kira, great glass spinner, is a great additional thing here too. Creatures you're gonna, whenever this creature becomes target of a spell ability or for the first time in a turn, counter this spell or ability. What does this mean? You want to have a creature, spot removal, whatever. First one is counter, try a second one. We are such an evil guys. Protection, our commander, our spirits in this case. Spirits, whenever enters the battlefield, exile target spell with commander 4 or less. And when it leaves the exiled cards or may cast the card without paying its mana cost. Bringing back something we might need again. Cool idea. In this case, to Mirror Hall Mimic. You may have entered as a copy of any creature on the battlefield except it's a spirit to its other types. We could do Titans too with this, if just for them. And they're still spirits, by the way. Phyrexian Metamorph is also very cool. And of course, normally I would have done an honorable mention. Geist of Saint Theft is normally the spirit tribal commander, I think. But we play him, and with him we can produce 4/4 white angel creature tokens, but this literally like is not our main part alongside. So literally this is like all our creatures, and we, as you can see, we are playing a huge lot. It's a not so less creatures which we have been looking for, but to be honest, like it makes sense to have in a spirit tribal as many spirits as possible, especially if you can easily use them to cast your commander. Nico Honor, as I said already, like Smoothering Tide is our also very good target which we can use for it. Makes sense in here too. So we have been talking about our commander, we've been talking about our spirits, and we need to protect our board state. So literally like we need, of course, instants to protect whatever it's coming alongside. Cyclonic Rift just makes sense if you pay the overload cost, so there will be no one on the opposition side anymore. Force of Will makes sense to counterspell. Path to Exile, you get it. We are trying to do spot removal or large removals so we can attack with spirits, hit with spirits, get tokens with spirits. Dig Through Time, we need a card. We can possibly take a good thing here. Eerie Interlude, exile any number of target creatures you control, return this card. A lot of triggers in this case again. And to protect us, Teferi's protection, as you can see, we have very cool. I love this card, by the way. I was picking it from a pack when it came out. Was very, very happy about having this. Swords to Plowshares, exile target. We are ready for everything. Fierce Guardianship in a commander game. I think this is one of the most powerful cards. We pay nothing for it as long as our commander is out. Very cool, and that we can use it for protection too. Enlightened Tutor, we can take a look for artifact or enchantment cards. We can review them, put them in. Makes sense. We have quite some artifacts, and of course we also have quite some enchantments. I already said Smoothering Tide we will be having. Of course we have blue, so Rustic Study might be a good choice too. So we'll take a look whatever you want and what's your board state literally like telling you. Mana Drain, a must-have for me in there, because like we can literally like turn a good mana-based creature or whatever it is into our mana for the next round. And a Cosmic Intervention. If a permanent you control will be put into a graveyard from battlefield, this turn exile instead, return to the battlefield. So literally like we are protecting and protecting and protecting our commander or our board state in this case. Sorceries, we only have 3. Oh, 2, sorry. Zoring 2. So let's go for the first one. We have a March of Souls. Destroy all creatures. They can't be regenerated. For each creature destroyed this way, its controller puts a 1/1 white spirit creature token flying into play. We are definitely having something from this. And as we are destroying everything, this is as good as a board wipe we can get in white without using Wrath of God. And still we can afterwards recast our commander very easily too. Very comfortable for us in this case. And Vanquish the Horde. What does this card do? This spell costs 1 less for cast for each creature on the battlefield, and when we say we destroy all creatures, also a board wipe in this case. Makes sense if every odd is against us and we can't remove everyone's state board. In this case, lots of flyers we have, for example. We need to clean out what's left over. So, after we got all this, of course, we come to the next slot. The next slot is, in this case, artifacts. And as you could already see, we have a Soul Ring in place. And Soul Ring, to be honest, like if someone would be asking me which card to ban in a game of Commander, this is way high on the stack. Because, come on, it gives you for 1 colorless, 2 colorless. If you are like into cedh, you know what this means. Like you can, who's like following up, for example, like our channel right now, we have also a Narset deck tech in there. Like you can, with this card, easily achieve a turn 1 Narset, because like you are having so much value out of such a cheap card in this case. Bident of Tassa, and this makes sense. You may draw a card because we need card draw. And we can also force our opponents, of course, to attack. And literally, like if our board state is high enough, they possibly won't attack us, but they attack each other. So they are playing for us. Great stuff to manipulate the state in this case. Arcane Signet. Add 1 of any color. You know this card. This is for any tribal deck also a very cool card if it comes to pumping owls up. Each creature gets +1/+1 for each other creature you play that shares a creature with it. We only play spirits. So if we have 10, we get +9/+9 on each. This makes a huge difference if there's something coming this way. I'm so sorry that we are not playing green, because Trample would be then the ultimate killer of everything. Skull Ramp, just to make card draw easy for us again. We have a Vanquisher's Banner. Also, these creatures of your chosen type get +1/+1. And every time we then play a spirit, we also get to draw a card. Because we are taking, of course, spirits here. As whatever you may see. So that means already, like, if everything is out there, we already have spirits which come into the place with +5/+5. Just for the remembrance, like, we have a 1/1 spirit token, for example, which when already enters with +5/+5 makes a 6/6 spirit token, only like from everything which is like lying around. Herald's Horn. We can of course choose a creature, and we are of course not choosing anything else than spirit. Creature spells you cast cost 1 generic less to cast. And at the beginning of our upkeep, we can look at the top card of our library. If it's a creature card of the chosen type, you may reveal it and put it into your hand. Extra card draw, always nice to be taken. Ashnod's Altar, sacrifice a creature, add 2 colorless. Get it? We can later recurse this thing, not this, but we can bring back some of the spirits, or like when we exile a spirit card, do a creature token, which is a spirit again. If we exile a spirit, you know, it's getting really fast big mana too. And if you are having this a Door of Destinies, by the way, also very nice. Again, we get +1/+1 for each charge counter on it. So every time we cast a spirit, this one gets +1/+1. We have, as you could see, lots of them. Bit mana fixing, Azurius Signet makes sense in such a deck, as well as a Mana Crypt. The 3 damage, well, I take this normally if it comes this way, not happily, but to be honest, like, we have a good and huge protection base on our sides that we can at least make things for us very easy to sustain. We have no lifelink, as you could see, doesn't matter, and it's not going to change even though we have enchantments here. So as I have been talking about, we of course have a heuristic study, and of course we have this smoothering tide. So we have already been talking about these two cards, but it makes sense to take a look at the others. What's the others? The others is an enchantment. It's like enduring renewed. Play with the cards in your hand face up on the table. If you draw a creature card from your library, discard it whenever a creature card goes to your graveyard from play. Put the creature into our hands. So looks like we are getting creatures which we want. Everything else we don't want at some sort of stage goes to the bin. That makes sense too. As ready the ranks get into the battlefield, choose a creature type. The spirits in our case. Creatures get +1/+1. We are now by +7 as far as I remember. So Anointed Procession, if an effect would create one or more tokens under your control, we get white with this. And we have a Catastrophe Crusade, and this enters, of course, put a 1/1 on each creature you control. So again, big mana on small little things such as spirits. Kindred Discovery, again we are choosing spirits. Whenever a creature you control of a chosen type attacks, enters the battlefield or attacks, draw a card. And as you might remember, we have this Reliquary Tower in our deck, means like we can later on draw cards as much as we want, because like doesn't make sense, matter to us, we are protected, don't need to discard. Entangle Virtue, creature tokens you control get +1/+1, have vigilance. This is only for our spirit creature tokens, where we will possibly generate a lot, so you can, whatever spirit you can find in your collection, just use it, whatever, if it's an official one, if it's like some printed one, if it's one of the newer, one of the older ones, we have everything which you can use. In this case, I play with these 5 normally clue tokens. I'm not taking alongside for my play group because I'm not often playing with these clues, which literally means like I just put a dice somewhere on an empty card. So, but these literally like spirits we will use, go in, go out, go big, go not so big, or just got to the battlefield. I hope you enjoyed our little deck tech about Spirit Tribal with our amazing commander Millicent, Restless Revenant. I think it's a very cool deck, by the way. It's a very consistently to be cast. Our commander, like as I said, turn 3. We are going to be a real threat on the table with a really high aggressive spirit deck, so everyone will be afraid of our spirit army. So happy gaming if you want to build this deck. Of course, you can substitute cards you think you are expensive or don't fit to your meta or whatever. This deck literally, like, I think it's a normal price deck. We have nothing, to be honest, so super special in there. Yes, we have a rustic study. Yes, we have a smoothering tide, which is like cards which are not so cheap anymore, but honestly they make total sense in this deck. I hope you will find some fun with this. I hope to see you next time when it's called like Aufgerissen und gespielt. Until then, I wish you all the best. See you later. Bye bye und auf Wiedersehen.